All right, we live.
All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Show Love. You have your host here,
Hold up,
L.U.V.Jones.
hold up.
Uh,
Do that again because your Wi-Fi had cut out when you started.
oh, that's it's straight now.
Yeah, straight.
All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Show Love. You got your host here, L.U.V.Jones.
And it's your boy Drake.
The DeAjai.
And yes, sir. So, we got a good one for y'all today, man. We're gonna get right into it. I just wanted to start off the episode because I seen something that has been low key driving me crazy. I had I had seen somebody leave a bad review at a restaurant that um I frequent a lot. Pure Soul, shout out to them. They left a bad review, not because of
Oh,
food, not
oh,
yeah,
pure
not because of
soul.
service. Yeah, not because of food, not because of service. You feel me? Everything was great. Nothing was wrong with the meal. They left a 1 star because they couldn't find a part.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Bro,
Parking do be crazy over there though, cause like I mean you can't always park right in front of Pure Soul, but you can park on the side by the barbershop, like and walk
yeah,
there.
bro, to leave a bad review is crazy, and it's crazy. It, like for me,
Yeah,
service
bro.
has to be so bad, like that I would have to get online and make a review. But other than that, like I'm not leaving a review, but let alone a bad review. But because of
I
parking,
ain't
that's
gonna,
crazy.
I ain't gonna cap. I'm gonna leave a bad review in that mug, yo. If I don't care, like if I'm not gonna say for a minor inconvenience, but like if I go there, especially if I'm door dashing or getting like Uber Eats or something, and my food come and it's not like made right, or either they missed like all the stuff that I had put on the modifications or something, I'm definitely gonna leave a review. Like I'm a firm believer in leaving reviews because that's something that I go look at before I even choose a restaurant in the first place. So if the reviews ain't good, I'm probably not gonna pull up, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I'm the
I
same way. Like reviews got to be good.
yeah, I was never one to leave reviews myself, but I definitely look. Like I definitely look.
Yeah,
I gauge like the if it's a non-known establishment, like a not very popular chain, and it's anything less than like 3 stars, I'm
yeah, I'm not
apprehensive
going.
at that point. Like I'm not dealing with it. Now anything 3 stars or above, I'm likely to try. And the 3 stars, 3.5 stars is really based on if I have faith in the food. Like if I'm really confident in what the food is going to taste like, then I'll tolerate the 3.5 because I recognize that might just be some of the tax that comes with having good food. Like I'm sure, Mike, I know you familiar. Backyard Barbecue in Durham, Drake. You know the place.
I don't. Where's it at?
I couldn't even tell you the exact location in Durham, but it was the best. It was one of my favorite places to go to in Durham. It's a barbecue spot. It's a real home style spot, and I'm not sure how many stars it has on Google, but like those type of establishments, the mom and pop shops that might not have the glitz and glamour on the outside, they might not get the stars that a more high end looking establishment gets, but the quality is still good. So with that being
Yeah,
said, if I have faith in the quality, I'll look past the stars, but I won't leave a review myself. If I don't like a place, I just won't go. I just will stop going myself, or if I have a
yeah,
problem with it. But hey, I'm not judgmental to reviews because I read them, so they're necessary for somebody like myself.
yeah,
For
for
sure.
sure. Yeah, I'm not leaving a review. Like service has to either be piss poor. I have never left a bad review, but service would have to be like, bro, like piss poor. Like, no, we don't have any seats available. We don't want you here. You know what I'm saying? Nah, Mike Jones, you're not gonna come in our restaurant. Like, you're not
Not
eating.
bad food. You ain't leaving one if the food terrible.
Nah, it could just be a mistake.
I mean,
if the food bad, I'm not coming, or I'm gonna get something else, or I'm gonna just leave. Like I'm not gonna pay if the food is like, if it's extra cold or something, like nah, bro. Like I'm not paying. I'm probably not gonna come back. But if it's a bug in my food, I'm probably gonna leave a review. You know what
That's
I'm
a good
saying?
point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. If it's a bug or a tooth or a nail or something
like
like
so
that,
wild. shit.
yeah, something wild, like yeah, like don't eat here. They cooking everything right here.
Yeah, man.
But
I think that's definitely one example of a time, because you're not really gonna get compensated for something like that. Maybe you can, but I wouldn't know how. If I found
Yeah.
something nasty like that in my food, all I would really know what to do is just complain about it. So in that case, yeah, I'd probably have to get a review out. And I think honestly, it wouldn't. I'm gonna be honest, like it really wouldn't even be to inform the next person, because the likelihood of that same thing being in their food probably isn't that high. But I'm
yeah,
just so mad that it was a mine. I got to do something, and I'm not
I
proud
gotta
of
do
that, but
something.
it's
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I'm gonna
I
have to
feel
do
y'all.
something, bro, for
I
sure.
know a few restaurant owners that I'm actually pretty close with. So I know that they read the reviews and try to make adjustments based off of the reviews. So I also know the power of just on the owner itself, what a good or bad review can do for that establishment. Because even if you have a lesser known establishment and they get some good reviews, that can help them, especially on platforms like Yelp. Like that can help them bring in more people, because people actually see that other people are going and patronizing this establishment.
Yeah,
So
I
that's a
understand.
little insight on why I give reviews myself.
Now, if you're giving a good review, and it's warranted, yeah, I feel like that's good. The reason why I don't give a review is because like I said, it either has to be top notch, or unfortunately they give me an incentive to do it. And yeah, I'm gonna leave. If you give me $5 off the next meal, food was great, excellent service, best restaurant ever. Yeah, but like
Not you could be
other than
bought,
that,
Mike.
like
That's crazy.
for a review, yeah, like for us. Now, if the food is really bad, no, I'm gonna either delete the review, or yeah, I'm gonna be honorable, bro. But the food is alright, or if it's alright to good, and you throw me a little incentive, you feel me? Hey,
Yeah, that's not
but
bad. That's not bad
I'm
marketing
not.
though.
Yeah, but it has to be like, it has to be one or the other, bro. It has to be either piss poor, really great, or you feel me? You give me $5 off my next meal.
What's one of the best?
Yeah.
Let me ask this real quick. So, what's one of the best restaurants that y'all done been to? Like, service was good, food was good, and everything in between. Like, I know for Mike and me, for real, Pure Soul, top tier. Like, top
Yeah,
tier everything.
better than Chick-fil-A.
Service, food. Yeah,
Yeah,
really though. Better than Chick
better
fil A.
than
Like, they
Chick-fil-A.
service crazy. They
Um,
even will throw you free desserts if they like you. Like that's what I'm saying. Like just off the strength. So I'm like, hey, look, I'm a
Mm,
patronize Pure Soul every time I go to dinner.
nah, no cap. But as far as
man, that's a
a
great question.
sit
Best
down,
restaurant. Yeah, Mike, you go, because I got to think about that one.
yeah, it's a hard one because like a sit down restaurant, um, like the service was great. I don't know, cause it really depends on the server sometimes though. Like for a sit down restaurant, because like overall, like the establishment could be good, but if the server doesn't come and check up on you and stuff, or update you when things are taking too long, that could throw it off too. But the food could be great, but or vice versa. If the server is great but the food is terrible, then it could throw it off. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
Uh,
can't lie, man. I get two. My favorite restaurant is the Original Pancake House. They got a couple of locations across the
Ooh,
eastern region, but I know they got one in
yeah.
Myers Park and they
yeah,
got one in South Park. And I don't know how familiar y'all are with the Charlotte area, but Myers Park to South Park those two restaurants are about 15 to 17 minutes apart max from each other, but they're the only two in North Carolina, and they're the best pancakes I've ever had. And I've been going there since I was at elementary school. So the fact that they built two locations that close to each other is terrible, in my opinion. I think they should have one in the RDU, and I think they should have one in the Charlotte area. I think it's one out in like South Carolina. I bring them up because the pancakes are great. The pricing is incredible. Like you'll spend next to nothing out there. The service is very quick. Like you're not gonna just be wowed by the personalities or nothing like that. But like the order you put in, the food is gonna come out quick, and it's 9.5 times out of 10 gonna be the quality you expect from it. So I give him the nod for that. But I also like Del Frisco's. I went to Del Frisco's this past Valentine's Day, and I mean you're definitely gonna pay for that. That's probably the most expensive restaurant I've been to as far as how much I paid at the end. But I mean, the food was really good. The server worked hard. The waitress, she was real nice. So you could just tell they kind of go, a little bit of an extra mile. But all of that stuff is novelty because I can't even really remember all the amenities that made the price point worth what it was. But that the seared Chilean sea bass was real. So yeah, I get Del Frisco's a nod.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
To your point, that original pancake house is fire. Like I normally go when I go to South Carolina. Like that's the first place I'm hitting up that next morning. So yeah. Service quick.
I need every time. Yeah, I'm gonna
try, next level, bro. It's changed my perception of pancake places ever since I tried them. One, I don't look at Cracker Barrel pancakes the same, which I used to look at as the top tier restaurant pancakes. And two, I've yet to be able to find a good pancake place since really investing my time in original pancake house. Like now, no matter what city I gone to, I was in Durham for 4 years. Any city I traveled to, I try a pancake place, and I've yet to come across one that I can say, you know what, this is good by original pancake house standards. Like I've yet to see it. It don't even got to be better. It could just be somewhere close, and I'll be cool. And I've yet to find that.
Facts. Yeah, I agree.
I agree. At first, I thought you were talking about IHOP. I'm like, nah. I ain't.
A lot of people think that. Yeah, I don't even touch IHOP anymore, and that's not like, and it's not even at all elitist because I'm sure IHOP you spending more money than you spend at original pancake house. I'd be willing to pay. But I won't even go inside of an IHOP now. Like never. It won't happen.
I would say the restaurant that gave me good service is Bar Taco. Like I've been to two locations. Their service is elite, top tier. Food quick. Drinks be good. You feel me? Just overall good vibes there. Yeah, I think Bar Taco is
for sure. Yeah. Speaking of elite, bro, what era, either the 90s, the 2000s, or the 2010s, what era do y'all think is the most elite? Right now, we're referring to basketball, but we're gonna go into like a broader topic after we talk about this basketball joint. But who y'all giving it to?
Right. First, before we go into that, we done with the 90s, bro. You feel me? We done. hey, we done with the 90s, bro.
I'm definitely. I'll give it to the 2000s just because that's one of the that's around the time I started watching basketball myself. So I was watching players like Gilbert Arenas, of course, like Kobe Bryant, Shaq. Shaq was really one of my favorite big men before Anthony Davis came into the league. But right now, I'm going with Joker every time. Like every time I'm going with Joker.
Yeah.
Best era of basketball I've seen is 2010s so far. 2010.
Yeah.
Best era of basketball, I would say now in the 2000s. If I had to choose, I would say the 2000s, but like the reason why I can't give it to the 2010s is because before like 2015 there wasn't any elite bigs like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Dwight was the best player as the best big, and then it was probably Tyson Chandler.
You count Tim Duncan?
I mean, I count him as a
throw him in the 90s for real.
That's fair. That's fair. He just played so long, so his career stretched.
Sure. The next one after that will probably be Andrew Vital.
But he won't popping in the 2010s. You know what I'm saying? Because he got hurt.
You give it to Pau Gasol.
Yeah, Pau Gasol. Yeah, for sure.
In fact, both Gasol brothers.
When I was saying bigs, I was thinking of fives. But if we're gonna throw fours in there, it's Dwight and then
But you're right. I'm really struggling to think of a lot of elite bigs in the 2010s or prior to 20. Maybe I'm not thinking hard enough, but I'm struggling as well. Like when I'm really thinking about it, it's not too many that's coming to mind, like super elite centers. So I can see what you're saying, and I really wouldn't have thought about it prior to you saying that. Like I don't know. Like this whole time I've just kind of assumed that there's always been competent bigs, but like the reason I say 2010 for my best, we've all heard the saying that basketball is continuously getting better and is continuing to, rise in skill. I think that's going to plateau at some point. I think at some point that's just going to be us saying that without any real evidence to prove this ginormous skill gap that we're continuously accounting for. And because, Steph Curry doing what Steph Curry does, Kyrie doing what Kyrie does, they're both 2010s guards. Their playing careers have extended into the 2020s, but they're 2010s guards. We haven't seen a guard come along as talented as a Kyrie or that shoots better than a Curry. So that's one reason why I'm kind of like bought out on that whole skill level is just continuously rising, because it's like, sure. I don't know, at some point in time we're going to be seeing stuff we've just never, we would have never fathomed seeing on the basketball court if the game is just continuing to rise skill-wise at this rapid pace. One. And then two, I think we finally reached the boiling point of the lack of competitiveness that a lot of people have complained about for years. I think the All-Star weekend was kind of a perfect example of that. The complaints that people had about the lack of effort in the All-Star game, and Anthony Edwards, somebody who's perceived to be a future face of the league, coming out and saying that he basically, wasn't too invested in putting in effort into the All-Star game because of the necessary break that the players need. So it's like, I think now we've reached a point where the lack of competitiveness that old heads have been speaking on, and the way they've said that basketball is nowhere near what it was in terms of competition compared to the 80s and 90s, it's hard to disagree with that now. There's a lack of real rivalries. There's a lack of true physicality on the floor. Now it's cool. I love watching basketball, period. But it's like, I wish I was this age sometimes in that 2010s era,
Me
so
too.
I could be invested in those games. That was great. Be able to be able to critique the game how you want to. Yeah. We got a clip right now that we want to show concerning this era debate. I'm gonna pull this joint up for y'all real quick.
Jordan was big trash, garbage. Look at the score. 40 points in the third quarter. What the GOAT doing? He going right as usual. But when he go back left, he a nightmare. That's an airball. Somebody explain to me how they got 40 points in the third quarter. Watch when he go back left. Jordan is a nightmare. Big trash. John Sally of the Pistons was big trash. Could somebody tell me, why is John Sally always on Vlad TV? He was garbage.
That's a great question.
Jordan in his weak left hand. Now we getting ready to be done with him not playing no D. Play some D, Jordan busting, Joe. Garbage.
Let's talk about this man's toe being in the middle of the video.
Run down the court all zesty and then
oh wow, I didn't see that. Yep, he kicked up.
He big relaxed.
Watch it. Late night after work.
Get up on him, Mike.
Yeah. Watch it. Old film.
Man, Joe, shoot that. Wop. Man, Bill Cartwright was big trash. Look at this. He get it blocked.
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, Bill Cartwright was trash, bro.
And he just threw us some garbage.
Bro,
the jumper was nasty.
Cartwright is
the jumper was nasty.
BJ Armstrong was so super zesty. His name is BJ. And watch he driving through this big airball. Garbage.
That's crazy.
Watch Jordan do an air reverse airball. That's garbage.
Bro, that's crazy. That
it was hilarious. Man.
To your point though, DeAjai, like I feel like we can't compare now to what we had in the past. And I say that respectively because comparing eras is like apples to oranges. It was played a certain way. Like people didn't have the skill development as they do now. Like, of course, you put Kyrie in the 90s or 80s, who knows the records he would break back then. But you know what I'm saying? If you put some of the guys that was in the 90s, I'm not saying all of them, but the main players that was in the 90s, you get them the same skill development. You let them grow up in the same circuits that we got. Who knows how their career would have ended up? So like,
Yep.
I just don't like comparing. Oh, Bron would have been trash in '80. Like, bro, no, he wouldn't have. I hate when other people say that, or people be saying that in general. LeBron wouldn't have been trash in no era. This man is 6'9", 260. Jordan wouldn't be trash in no era. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's just what it is. You compare it to the talent that they're facing right now. The people that they're going against at their time, they was elite going against their competition. You know, to compare
For
them
sure.
against what we know now is it's just like comparing an iPhone 14 to the first iPhone. It head and shoulders better than the first iPhone.
Yeah, it's hard to compare eras. When speaking on the GOAT debate, I've completely eliminated my opinion on eras to kind of dictate how I look at it. I just go based off of peer, like peer review and what the league has said and what the players have accounted for. And I mean, based on perception and based on how the players perceive the league and the game, that's kind of been what helped shape my GOAT argument as far as at 24 years old is concerned. Previously, I kind of based it along who dominated the game, for the longest amount of time and at I guess, X amount of stages. But as time goes along, it's like if I go into a tech space and I'm not that well versed in tech or I'm not a developer myself, I'm going to trust the opinions of those other developers in that space to tell me who the best is out there. The ones who actually do the work can be the ones that tell me who the top dog is. So I know that groupthink is kind of a problem and people allow other people's opinions to dictate their own, but this is one of those cases when comparing eras where I just allow the people who actually did the work to kind of, tell the story.
For sure. Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, there's a GOAT in each era, you know. But it's like, cause you can say the '60s was building Wilt, you feel me? And then you got '70s and '70s was Kareem, you know what I'm saying? The '80s, Bird, Magic, and you got Jordan at the tail end.
Right.
Then you got the '90s, it's Jordan, you know what I'm saying? 2000s, Kobe. You got the Spurs, like, and then the
Dude,
22.
you still had Shaq too, because like
You had Shaq.
in the
Like,
90s we had Shaq.
yeah, but just
Even
the
in
goats
2000.
and the goats in those eras, though. You feel me? It's just, but like to rank them is crazy. You know, because I got, I have two goats and maybe a third now. Just hearing people how they revere, like Kobe. You know, Kobe my all-time favorite player, but I didn't. After like I want to say about 3 years ago, like I got two goats now. So that's Jordan and Bron. But now it might be a three-headed race between Kobe, not race, but just a three at the top of the top, Kobe, Bron, and MJ, just off of pure impact on the game. But besides basketball, though, in general, I think 2000s, besides music, I'll put that dead last, 2000s music. But other than that, 2000s is the best era to me. And fashion, music and fashion, they dead last. But everything else, I feel like 2000s just was the best.
I mean, you the closest to the 2000s, Mike. I mean, what? I mean, I get it. I get it. I get it, but I'll go. I'll go to 90s. Just based off of my experience, even though it was only my first 5 years of life in the 90s. But
Yeah.
I would just say I'm definitely going to 90s for sure. Just based off of originality from that point. Like you said, we'll go fashion. I mean, 90s music really set the bar for a lot of the stuff that we listen to now also. So there's a lot of people that's sampling 90s music just to make a 2020 track. So it's like all that is coming back now. Even a lot of the trends, the big shirts, the graffiti shirts, like all that's coming back right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go now only because pretty much everything we've had access to, we have access to now, except for the actual, in-person experience, which you can never replace, right? You can never replace actually being there, actually feeling the energy, talking to the people, being in that social era. I mean, when I think of eras, I'm automatically reverting to music and entertainment. Like there are certain musical eras I wanted to be able to live through as a high schooler or as a college student. Like to crank that era as a college student was probably crazy. When Chief Keef was really in his prominence, was probably crazy. Gucci, crazy. Like there were certain musical eras in rap that I would have loved to live through. But because of the access we have to all of this music now through streaming, YouTube, etc., yeah, as far as music is concerned, any of the music that I would have wanted to be immersed in back then, I can at least listen to now. We have Uber Eats, which is crazy. Some states have legalized weed, which is crazy. Like there are just so many things about now that's just crazy. Like in
Yep.
comparison to what things were, like I think that it's a crazy time to live in. So I'm gonna go now, but you really can't go wrong with any of these answers. I mean, I think after the technological revolution or whatever they call it, whenever people started getting access to the internet and whatever, like things got good after that. I mean, I'm sure things were cool before, but after the internet came along,
Yeah.
I think things went up. So yeah, shout out to today and shout out to
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. I was just saying, like, as far as the 2000s, when it comes to like, I would say sports, they have some of the. As far as the big names, I would say have like as far as sports, I feel like shaped our culture a lot. As far as the athletes that was in that time, the TV shows were elite. I know people talk about the 90s, but I feel like the 2000s TV shows just amazing. You feel me? I, I've I really enjoyed 2000s games. Like I can go on. That was the best era for gaming. You got San Andreas, you got NFL Street, you got NBA Street, you got all those types of games, bro. I just feel like
That's
that was
true.
just
That's true. Gaming
yeah.
was going crazy in the 2000s.
You feel me? It was just great. I reason why I say fashion and music is because like, bro, I don't want to wear a 5X t-shirt with a 50 size pair of shorts, pair of 50 shorts. You feel me? Shorts that's supposed to be above your knees, they hang it down to your ankles. Like, nah, I might as well wear some pants. You feel me? I don't listen to no 2000s music. I feel like
That's
only
crazy, right?
95, 97% of the time it was just Lil Wayne. You feel me? I feel like his Head and Shoulders better than the competition during that time as far as music in general. And I was listening to Gucci, shout out Gucci, T-Pain, and yeah, that was it. That was really all the artists I was listening to in the 2000s. And I feel like the 2010s, especially early 2010s and 2017 had the best music that I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, but the 2000s, everything else is just blowing out the park. But any era is great though.
That's real. Any era was great.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with 90s through now. Like I said, after the internet came along, take your pick. It was a lot of good stuff going on in any of the decades.
For sure. Yeah, and speaking of, different eras and stuff, do you all feel like it's a disconnect between the youth and the elders? Because, we have trends such as we done with the 90s. But an older person made this trend, you know what I'm saying? He's not from my era, but, it's been spearheaded by, people my generation and younger. So do you feel like it's a disconnect between the youth and the elders?
This is kind of like something we had spoke on one of the last episodes in relation to the Cam Newton fight. About how that was just kind of like a general disregard from the youth on up, like, for greatness that the older generation had accomplished, and the youth just kind of turning a blind eye to that. In relation to that, I would say that there's a little bit that kind of factored in a little bit both ways, right? And the best way I can actually describe that is through sports, but more specifically high school and college. I think it's so much harder in today's day and age to have your accomplishments have you classify as a great or a legend, as opposed to back in the 90s when there was no internet, etc. Like, I feel, or not even just the 90s, let's put it, pre 2000. I feel like it was a lot easier for you to develop a certain reputation and a certain image that was really difficult to dismantle. And I think now that generation that experienced that, they don't really regard anybody young or almost anybody young as worthy of being acknowledged as a legend before, like, pretty much we have to crown our own legends. I can't expect the older generation to look at us and say that we're significant, even if we've accomplished significant things. I think in sports, like college basketball, for example, the one and done era has made it so if you stay in college 1 year, no matter if you're somebody like Zion Williamson, who gives the country something that we've never seen before in college, people won't really consider you a legend unless you have longevity. And even then, like an Armando Bacot or an RJ Davis, if you have longevity, if you have championships, if you have conference player of the years, you still won't be acknowledged as a legend because you stayed in college too long. So it's like, I know that's just a sports example, but I feel like that's like a microcosmic example of how the older generation tries to discredit the accomplishments and legacy of people younger than them. And I think it's reflected, it's mirrored both ways. So I definitely think there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
I agree for sure. Um, I feel like the younger generation really, well, I'll say this. I also feel like the younger generation doesn't really care about the same things as the older generation cared about back then. Like you said, like just being able to like make your own like GOAT or to crown your own GOAT. Because right now, everybody just letting people like beat them. It's more so about just people being people than who's better than who. Like, we just enjoy people doing great things and not really trying to put no stamp on it or any type of name on what they're doing, just because we just want people just to do what they want to do, because that's what the youth is about nowadays. Like, do what you want to do. Like, stop doing the things that people are telling you to do. Stop doing the things that people, quote unquote, would expect of you because of their own opinions. Like, just do what you want to. As long as you doing that and doing that to the best of your abilities, we like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you're not going off of somebody else's opinion, we gonna accept you.
Yeah. I feel like man, it's definitely a disconnect. And I feel like it's because like DeAjai was saying, it seems like no matter what this generation does, it's like the validation would get shot, because it's like, oh, compared to this person, you weren't as great as that because you failed at this point, you failed at that point. And it's like, like, bro, do you see what I'm up against? You didn't have to go against this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't like and it's more than just sports, but just like comparing Jordan to LeBron, it's like they never talk about Jordan's flaws, but they mention Bron's flaws all the time. And it's like he never had a chance to becoming better than Jordan because when people hold somebody in such high regard, they're not gonna allow them to elevate somebody else. It's like we got to tear down somebody else just to keep this person at a high regard instead of them both being here. Um, you know, and I feel like that's what's been happening even with whatever we do. Like older generation, back in the late or mid 2010s when the Uzis and the Yachty's came out, it was like, oh, this music is trash. Trash compared to what? Like, and I'm not a fan of like Uzi and stuff, but like, you feel me? To call somebody music trash when it's bumping with the young kids is like, bro, we got a different vibe. It's not trash to us. You might think it's trash compared to the hippity hop type of rap, you know what I'm saying? But as far as vibes, like, bro, got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I feel like this generation is more prone to wild out because of that. We always being shot down because we're not doing exactly what was set before us, which didn't always work for the people that was doing it before us. And also they blame, I don't know who they're blaming, but they always saying our generation is wild. But who raised our generation? The same wild people. Hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. We didn't just get birth from nothing, but it's just like we getting torn down with no accountability.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
I think ultimately, man, it's human nature to find superiority. I think regardless of what it is, whether it be sports, physicality, combat, entertainment, I think no matter what, we can't find something where people have not tried to identify the best of that thing. Like people just want to know. I don't know what it is. I think you almost have to deprogram yourself or condition yourself to view the next man as an equal in order for you to pretty much eliminate the desire to find the best. But it's like, even when people talk about the next face of the NBA, that's all it really is. The next face of the NBA is going to be that next guy. Like, I don't think people, this started after Kobe passed. People wanted to stop having the GOAT conversation. And I understood it because it was a fresh wound and you don't want to speak down on somebody amazing who we just lost, right? But I never thought that was going to last. You can't eliminate the GOAT conversation because people will always be looking for the best of the best, no matter what. You can try to ignore it or suppress it, but those who ignore and suppress will just be the ones who never reach that pinnacle, because they're always going to be the ones who are so hungry. They're going to continuously chase that number one spot. It's like ego driven. Like people are going to naturally want to be at that top. So I don't think the conversation is going to go anywhere because I don't think the players are going anywhere. Like that desire to be the best from a collective standpoint. I don't know if that's ever going to go nowhere, but yeah, man, I say that all to say that speaking on the entire topic as a whole, I don't think people will ever stop comparing anything because we'll always be looking for what the standard is.
Facts.
Yeah. Facts. And that's a fact, bro. And I feel like brings us to the next topic, originality, right? And I feel like people have a flock mentality when it comes to certain stuff. Like they like to follow trends, which has always been done in human existence. But I think it's because we have social media, which is more prevalent. Like it's like you see somebody getting hated on. All right, it's cool, it's funny to joke and hate on that person. Oh, somebody's showing love to a particular thing. Oh, I'm gonna show love because I want to be cool with this, even though I don't really like it like that. Let me act like I'm showing love, and it's just. I feel like it coincides with what we was just speaking about. It's like one person say they don't like it, they get a group of people that say they don't like it, then boom, it's a trend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
How
like
do y'all define? Oh, I was about to ask
oh
Drake.
no. Go ahead, DeAjai.
How do you define originality?
Um, I would say this, to define it. Most people form their own, they form their personality by being around people and they vibing off of what they enjoy, right?
Mm,
And so I can hang with I can hang with different people, but I'm still myself because I still people ask me what do I enjoy. I talk about the things I enjoy. I don't talk about the things that I think you all might want to hear. I talk about the
yep,
things I enjoy. So I feel like that's a part of originality. Just being
for sure.
true to you. And
For
I'm
sure.
gonna bring up this example real quick. I was in college, and this guy, I forgot his name. I won't even gonna name drop if I did, but he used to come up to me. He'd be like, Mike, what's the moves? If anybody know me, I'm not a party type of dude. I'm not I'm not the life of the party. Um, you know what I'm saying? I was just known around camp. But I wasn't, you didn't see me everywhere on camp. He's like, bro, what's the moves, bro? You know, they got this going on tonight. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, I'm not gonna be there, but fat, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like after like him asking me like 2-3 weeks in a row every time he seen me, I guess he got the point. Like, oh, Mike really don't be doing this, you know? And I feel like I'm not saying bro wasn't original, but I feel like he was just trying to find a vibe. And that's
Like the
not
most popping thing at the
yeah,
time.
most popping thing at the time. And he perceived me as because I had a certain status at school. He perceived me as, oh, let me get cool with Mike because Mike it has a certain status. But that's just not who I am, you know. Um,
But I'll
yeah,
say, as far as originality, to Mike's point, just being true to yourself, not really following trends. And if you are following trends, just being able to take that and give it out to the world in your own way instead of what we see now. We see a lot of videos on social media that's literally the same topic presented the exact same way.
just different
And
person.
I think that's where we're straying away from our originality right now. I do think just going a little bit, I guess, like off topic a little bit, this quote unquote ban that we're trying to do for TikTok right now that just came out. I think if we do decide to ban TikTok, that it's going to spark a little bit more in people. Of course, we're still going to have like Twitter, we're still going to have Instagram and other forms of social media, but it's going to allow people to have to think more when they do content, and that's what I want to see. It's just more people doing original things instead of following what's going on just because it's popping right now. It can get you quick likes or it can get you quick followers. Like, find something that it don't necessarily got to be something that's not being done right now. It's just not being done your way, and do it your way.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it TikTok is an industry. They'll never shut it down. I've heard of proposals and I've heard of proposed bans. I've heard of ideas. I remember, I don't know how many years ago this was. It feels like because COVID kind of has things as a blur. Maybe 2021,
Sure.
2022. I remember China was talking about banning TikTok. And I don't know if they ever implemented it or not. They probably did. I know they don't play over there. But as far as banning it, as a whole, I don't know what the specifics behind whatever came out today was, so I won't even speak on that. Like, I won't speak on that specific because whatever they came out with today, they might implement that. Like, it might be a limited type of ban that they might actually implement. But as far as getting rid of the platform as a whole, or any of the major social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, anything that might have heavy influence over our youth, I just think it's so much money being made from it now, they can't get rid of it because there's too many people that would be hit that would probably get pushback. As far as originality is concerned, I mean, like authenticity is one of the more cliche lessons we're taught, like as kids, right? Be yourself. Don't worry about trying to be somebody else. Don't follow the crowd. The saying, if XYZ goes jump off a bridge, are you gonna do the same? Like we have been consistently preached to be original and to be ourselves and to not stray away from, who we are as people. So that's why I asked y'all what y'all definition of originality was, because we've been taught that lesson of authenticity so often. How can you identify the difference between somebody acting outside of themselves and somebody adjusting to a genuine personality shift? Because even though you do have the same personality, your interests may evolve, and the way your interests evolve or the things you might be interested in may have people perceive you as a completely inauthentic person in comparison to what they're used to. But Mike, let's say one day you just decided, you know what? I want to get myself out in a different light. I want to get myself out in a party light. Let's say I was never interested in parties before, but I just want to try it. Like I wasn't a party either, so I'll use myself as an example. Like let's say I said, you know what, I wasn't into parties, but I want to get myself out there more in that respect, and I decide to do that. Mike, let's say you come across me when I decide to do that, and I'm pretty much the same person. We had the same type of interactions. I'm the same dude to you. The same, treatment we have on one another is the same. But you do notice that now I'm constantly out at functions. When you first met me, I wasn't on that at all. How do y'all differentiate somebody who's gone through a complete personality shift and isn't the same authentic person you knew versus somebody who's just adopted a new hobby or something that they, once didn't do, but now they into it? How can you kind of tell the difference between the two?
Yeah, I would say now when I brought up that point about when I brought up that example about bro asking me for moves, right? Wasn't necessarily saying he wasn't being original, but to your new point, right? People change, bro. People might be like, bro, I tried it and I enjoyed it. Like I don't before this is gonna sound crazy, but before I got on my first roller coaster, I ain't never been on a roller coaster to say I didn't even like it. I haven't been on a roller coaster to say I did not like it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure. But when I got on a roller coaster, it confirmed I don't like these roller coasters. I'm not getting on one. And there's nothing nobody can say to make me get on a roller coaster, right? But I could have but the reason why I got on there is because my homie at the time was like, bro, just get on there, bro. Just try it, bro. Like, I'm like, bro, all right, I'm gonna try it. But if I would have started liking roller coasters, that means, hey, this is something I've tried and I like it and I thoroughly enjoy this. But I feel like it's hard to decipher that. But you got to know the person that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You got to really know, because when you get close with somebody, you would know who they really are. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll know if they faking it or if they really enjoy something. But when you casually just knowing somebody, I think it's hard to decipher.
That's something I'll try to become a little bit more careful of. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
for sure. Trying to view somebody through a lens and determine that
it's hard.
Pretty much almost like being hypocritical a little bit. Like you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you and then tell you that's your personality.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But I'll say like longevity, I'll let you know if that was really just a part of them, or was that just something that, like you said, with a personality shift that you just wanted to try. Maybe you didn't like it and then like you back to doing the things that you was normally doing, or you did like it and now, quote unquote, you changed as a person, which that's not always the case. It's just I found something else that I like, and over time you like different things. Like for me, I absolutely hated sushi like growing up. Like I had a couple people like give it to me, and I'm like, no, I don't want that, bro. Like raw or cooked sushi, I don't like that. I'm grown now. Like I'm going to Wegmans, going to Harris Teeter, going to these sushi spots, and going crazy. Like that's my favorite food now. So it's like, are people gonna say like you're going against the grain, or you're not yourself anymore, or is it just something that I acquired over time, and now I want to do this and I like it?
Yeah, I think people have a lot of faith in their ability to judge character, and not everyone's an astute judge of character at the end of the day. And the issue is it that self-awareness to be able to say, you know what, maybe I have years of experience to go before I can make a adequate quick judgment of somebody's character. Not a lot of people really have the ability to self-assess it. And maybe they had the ability, maybe they just don't choose to, you know. I think there is a lot of faith that people have in their individual sense of character, but that's probably the reason why there's a lot of miscommunication and conflict amongst people all the time, because you could be around somebody and think that they're moving funny, and you just might be judging their character incorrectly, and now you two are feuding over a misjudgment of character. So I think that sometimes people deeming that other people are being inauthentic is just a result of them misjudging whatever their initial perception of that person's authenticity was. Like they probably didn't even know to begin with. And how much time can you spend around a person to really get an in-depth look into who they are? Like, I mean, people are good at maintaining faces, man, especially like if you work a job. That's how you usually get and keep the job, just your ability to maintain a face for, X amount of time, and you're there for 8-9 hours a day. So I try to keep this lesson in my head, like take from people what they're giving me in the moment, but never think that I'm at a point, at least right now, to where the information I've got is enough for me to make a definitive judgment on that person. I know them for what I know them as, but they could completely shock me one day. Like they could go. That's why I don't put being crossed past anybody. I don't put backstabbing past it, like none of that, because I recognize that my judgment of somebody's character is based off of my 24-year-old mindset. I might look back at this when I'm 30 something and laugh like, bro, I didn't know what I was talking about back then.
For sure. So, you can realize a whole different thing. Like when you get older, you can look back at some of your past friendships and be like, bro, that person was a horrible friend. Whole time. And you just couldn't see it. You just couldn't see it. So like, to your point, DeAjai, like just being able to see things through your own lens doesn't always give you the right picture.
Facts. Confirmation bias exists, man. Real.
Yeah. Sometimes you might catch somebody going through a different phase in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. That's real, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
imagine somebody met y'all at y'all lowest time. And that first impression of you at your lowest time was what they chose to judge you off of from that point forward. Because everybody say first impressions are everything. That's why I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. I could meet somebody when they at their absolute lowest, and that might be a not at all a reflection of who they are at their best, and life ain't fair. So everybody's not going to give you that courtesy, but I will. Like, I'm going to make the choice to do that.
Facts. And I think a lot of people need to, but like you said, we're judged off of first impression. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, like you said, could be having a rough day, really rough day, and they might just react a certain way. That's not necessarily a reflection of their character, and that's not something that they actually meant to say. You know what I'm saying? They could just be going through it. You could just hit a spark in their mind. They just snap. You know what I'm saying? They just going through a bad moment, but that don't mean that they're a bad person or that's a reflection of them. So yeah, it's a thin line, I feel like, between a phase, being original and then trend hopping. But like you said, you won't be able to know unless you know the person, because it's easy to judge somebody off of a first glance. But going back to basketball, I seen something that was very interesting. It was in the news last week. It was about hope I'm saying it right. Dartmouth University. I think it's an Ivy League school. Their basketball team voted 13-2 to join their local employees union. Um, I feel like as far as college sports, I feel like that could be a major change because now they're starting to view themselves as employees. And so I kind of want to get y'all opinion on like what do y'all feel like that's going to take college sports?
I
Could
think,
you scroll on that statement while you talking, Drake? Could you like kind of scroll on the statement so I could read a little bit?
yeah, for sure. Like this is a statement actually by the college itself. So I'll just read it out real quick. So, for decades, Dartmouth has been proud to build productive relationships with the five unions that are currently part of our campus community. We always negotiate in good faith and have deep respect for our 1,500 union colleagues, including the members of the SEIU Local 560. In this isolated circumstance, however, the students on the men's basketball team are not in any way employed by Dartmouth. For Ivy League students who are varsity athletes, academics are of primary importance, and athletic pursuit is part of the educational experience. Classifying these students as employees simply because they play basketball is as unprecedented as it is inaccurate. We therefore do not believe unionization is appropriate.
Okay.
And this is coming from the college itself.
So okay, now I'm understanding because I'm thinking I'm like, so they didn't. Okay, so the students chose to unionize. The
The school did.
school released that statement basically saying y'all are
Yeah.
tripping, like, and here's why we think y'all are
Yeah.
tripping. Okay, facts. So basically, like, what do y'all think about that? I guess the school's opinion in relation to the student's decision.
I feel
I,
like the school.
I don't really like it. Like I don't really like the school coming out and like saying that because at the end of the day, the players want to the players want what's best for the players.
Mm.
Like you know what I'm saying? And as a college, if you can't recognize that, I know it's different. I know it doesn't happen in collegiate sports, but if you can't just recognize that these players might want something better for themselves on campus and for other college players like down the line, because this could completely flip collegiate sports on its head.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
then I think you probably just need to take a step back and really look at the bigger picture.
To that point, I feel like that's why they went out and said it because if they, whether they agree or not, I feel like the best thing for them to do was to denounce it publicly because that could lead to not just the Ivy League students doing this, but all college athletes doing this.
Like a
And
domino effect.
Like no
right,
publicity is bad publicity. I see what you're saying.
Fact.
yeah. So I'm not saying that I'm glad, but I'm saying for their best interest of college sports or from their point of view was to go ahead and denounce it. But for my opinion, I feel like it's something that the students, I mean, the athletes that did this, it is unprecedented. I feel like it's going to create history. I feel like it is going to be a domino effect. And hey, if they view themselves as employees, which they drive a lot of income to their team. I mean, not to just their team, to their school. Like they drive a lot of income for their schools. So if they want a union, you can't replace those players. Like you can have a basketball team, but imagine you just went to you hosted tryouts and you got the best basketball players not playing, but hey, you just hosted tryouts for any student to come play. Like you're gonna be dead last in your conference.
my issue with the school statement, I mean, they kind of, to me, walked themselves into a corner with that statement. They specified two things: their perception of the student athlete through the eyes of the Ivy League, which almost separates the Ivy League athlete from that of any other NCAA conference, because it's like, okay, y'all don't perceive being an athlete as anything further than just a part of the academic pursuit. But that's not the way ACC, SEC, Big Ten, etc. schools are looking at this. College coaches will tell high school recruits verbatim, this is a job. You are coming here to be a student athlete. So it's like your schoolwork still comes first, but your schedule as a part of this sports team, like your dedication is to the team. You will spend more time with this team than you will with your friends and your classes. Like, you will be dedicated to this team, and your spot on this team is dependent on your willingness to do this extra stuff. That is a job. My ability to keep my job is dependent on these things outside of just waking up and being present, or just doing a somewhat diligent job. There are trainings that you have to complete. There are meetings you got to go to. There are sometimes just extra stuff you got to do. That's different than being I guess when you're making a comparison, the stuff you got to do as a college athlete is way different than what I had to do as just a student. Like I was, Mike, you were a manager on the team. Like, I got to see that up close for a couple of months myself. Like, you got to witness that these dudes' schedule is crazy. So
it is crazy. It's hectic.
For them to go on there and call it unprecedented and inaccurate, that's a disconnect from the athletic program, because the coaches are saying verbatim that this is a job. So for you to say that it's unprecedented, that's a matter of opinion. So I agree with what you said. Them putting this statement out publicly, I mean, now it's just going to probably encourage other schools to follow suit. People love a good rebellion, man. Like, if you can uprise against something for a good cause, people will get together and do something. So I could definitely see this becoming more popular.
For sure.
Yeah, and to your point, that's exactly what I was trying to get to. Like, it is something that hasn't been done before, in that sense. But to call it, to go and I ain't gonna say backstab, but to go against the thought of a unionization is kind of crazy, because you're right. There's not just, it's optional to go to practice, or it's optional to go to film. You don't go to practice, you're just a regular student now. You know what I'm saying? They might tolerate you at the top of the top, but like you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a walk-on, you have to go harder, but that's a walk-on. But as far as you getting a scholarship to play, like you have a job to do, and you have to hold yourself even more regard, because you're not just a regular student. Like, if you get in trouble with drugs, it's going to not just be a school-related thing. It's going to get out to the media. You know what I'm saying?
Great point. Yep.
So, if you get in trouble, it's not an in-house thing. Maybe it can be, but it's going to get out, especially depending on what school it is. So you have to hold yourself accountable. They have meetings and things of that nature. On top of, yes, you're getting a free education, but it's just like they have to travel. They have to meet. They have a lot of stuff they have to do, and I feel like the unionization is going to be good. Is to have the players back, just in case they get done wrong, or if they just need help with situations. They have a unionization to go to, and it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did you have anything to add, Drake? Thought you about to say
yeah, like I hope more schools do this. Like, I really hope more schools do this, because then it'll hold the colleges or the universities more accountable to make sure that they're treating their student athletes correctly. Because now we have someone that can speak for us, and if you don't, then ain't gonna be no more basketball, or ain't gonna be no more sports unless you do right by us.
Yeah.
So like House was saying when he was up here, there was times before this NIL stuff that a lot of these college athletes didn't have the funds to eat or be able to just provide for themselves. Like just being able to have those things in place to make sure that your student athletes are getting what they need is very important. So this might just flip it for them in the favor of the student athlete to be able to collectively bargain and be like, hey, like we need this, and this, so we can actually perform at our highest and not even have to think about going outside and doing something dumb just to keep some money in my pocket.
Yeah, that's fast, bro. Like that's fast. And I feel like that's why it's important for them, and I'm glad they even thought about doing that. You know, because regardless, this will be the first time this is done. But like I was saying, this is going to be a domino effect for sure, and it's just exciting to see what's going to take place after this. But just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Episode 4, Show Love. You know, we here. We definitely here to stay this time. Shout out to DeAjai coming on here. Shout out Drake. And yeah, to everybody watching at home, remember, it's all love, and we out.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.